not in the face of an intensifying strategic competition in the Indo-Pacific and around the world.
If the witness will suspend, and I ask that everyone again respect this hearing, we will suspend until the room is cleared.
Is calling for a ceasefire. Shame on you all. The world is calling for a ceasefire. The American people don't want to support this brutal war.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken was protested repeatedly by peace activists as he was asking the American people to provide tens of billions of dollars in additional war funding for Israel. As Israel continues its siege on Gaza and as Palestinian civilian casualties explode to devastating numbers each and every day, rage is growing toward the United States and its unwavering support for the Israeli Defense Forces' brutality.
You can see here the hearings are being interrupted by protesters, the hands covered with some type of red material, perhaps presumably indicating blood on hands for what is happening in the Middle East.
3,500 kids dead. Come on, I'm an Army colonel, I'm a former diplomat, I resigned on that war in Iraq that you talked about. That was a terrible thing, and what we're doing right now in supporting Israel's genocide of Gaza is a terrible thing too.
Palestinians aren't animals.
Committee will suspend, and I again ask that those in the audience respect the people in the room and allow us to continue the hearing. The hearing will suspend until the disruption is removed.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
They're gonna win! The Palestine to Mexico! All the walls have got to go! The Palestine to Mexico! All the walls have got to go! Palestine to Mexico! All the walls have got to go!
Now, Capitol Police say that 12 protesters were in fact arrested during the hearing on the charge of crowding and obstructing. Some of the protesters who took part in the demonstrations were with Code Pink, which has also called for the United States to stop sending arms to Ukraine. And it turns out that they have bipartisan company because, believe it or not, Republican Congressman Thomas Massie from Kentucky declared that he does not support sending military funding to Israel because we, quote, shouldn't be funding other countries' wars, end quote. And he said this despite bullying from AIPAC. In an X post, Massie argued that if Congress sends $14.5 billion to Israel, on average, we'll be taking about $100 from every working person in the United States. This will be extracted through inflation and taxes. And then he says, I'm against it. Now, after Massie joined House progressives like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib to reject military support for Israel through House Resolution 771, AIPAC attacked him. But guess what? He didn't waffle. Looks like Republicans are a little stronger than Democrats. Massie says that AIPAC always gets mad when I put America first. I won't be voting for their $14+ billion shakedown of American taxpayers either. The resolution passed anyway though, 412-10. But AIPAC tried to intimidate Massie one last time, arguing that he had accused American support of Israel of dual loyalty to Israel, which of course he didn't do. I'm happy to share that that tactic didn't work on Massie either. He says this baseless smear is meant to intimidate me into voting to send $14+ billion of your money to a foreign country. Please let AIPAC know we are broke and these tactics don't work on this congressman. That's incredibly strong. Now, Massie has condemned the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel, but he said he also opposes the resolution because it calls for sanctions, which he does not support. In addition, the resolution included foreign aid commitments, which he is also not in favor of. The $14.3 billion aid package for Israel would include $1.2 billion for the development of the Iron Beam defense system and $4 billion for Israel's Iron Dome and David's Sling defense systems. So I have no problem with providing some funding for the defense systems, but in other words, the bulk of that military aid to Israel would actually be offensive weaponry, with just 5.2 billion of the 14.3 billion allocated toward defense systems. Now, Massey deserves a world of credit for basically taking a stance and going as far as joining progressives in Congress to do it. And it is deeply immoral to provide weapons to Israel with no strings attached. More than 8,500 civilians have been killed due to the IDF's bombardment. The northern half of the Strip has been told to evacuate their homes and go to the south, where they were told they'd be safe. Now, this of course has displaced more than 1 million people, but the IDF continues to bomb the south anyway. They have admitted as such. Israel has also continued its blockade of desperately needed fuel into Gaza so hospitals can power their equipment and keep wounded Palestinians alive. Humanitarian aid is severely restricted by Israel and was completely blocked for weeks, denying Palestinians food and water. The White House supports this in our name. They expect us to fund this brutality. I just want to ask, are we really okay with that? And I want to go back to Antony Blinken's statement to the Senate Appropriations Committee, because I do find it incredible how often the White House officials say the quiet part out loud these days.
It will help countries transition to military and defense equipment that's made in America. The supplemental will make critical investments to protect the security of Americans here at home. That includes addressing the hemispheric challenge of irregular migration, strengthening our defense industrial base to ensure our military continues to be ready, capable, and the best equipped fighting force in the world, and that we remain the arsenal for democracy. More than $50 billion of the security assistance funding will replenish US military stocks, strengthen our defense industrial base, and will be spent through American businesses.
Spent through American businesses. Arsenal of democracy. Sure sounds Orwellian given the context in which he made those statements. It's also clear that US business interests are top of mind for these war fiends. Consider the profits enjoyed by American defense contractors as a result of America's preemptive war in Iraq. The following numbers actually comes from a March 2013 analysis. So with that in mind, by 2013, an analysis by the Financial Times revealed the top 10 contractors secured business worth at least $72 billion between them. None has benefited more than KBR, once known as Kellogg, Brown and Root, according to the FT. The controversial former subsidiary of Halliburton was once run by Dick Cheney, who of course was the vice president to George W. Bush. KBR was awarded at least $39.5 billion in federal contracts related to the Iraq war in the first 10 years of the conflict. Blood money, which is probably why the demonstrators at the Senate Appropriations Committee hearing used a red substance, paint likely, on the palms of their hands to illustrate how the United States government has blood on its hands.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below, because that makes you a member, and members allow us to be independent, honest. We can be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.